not only a former worker here, I was also a former client. My first contact with CCJ was they had a community reentry program back in the day where I come from the penitentiary early and I had to do house arrest upstairs on the third floor. And I used to come here like once a week and check in, and I had my home monitoring band. But at that point, that wasn't the end of my shenanigans. Let me just put it like that. I ended up going to jail again for theft, partly due to a heroin and cocaine addiction that I've had. I was spent about 20 years addicted to heroin and cocaine. I'm about 12 years clean now. But there was a program that you all have. It's called VORP, which is the Victim Offender Reconciliation Program. And Ann Lehman, who's the coordinator now, she was the coordinator then. She was actually my case manager. And I had to pay restitution for a crime I committed. And I wrote a letter. Part of my plea agreement was to write a letter to the victims. And I ended up meeting the victims, and they actually started going to the same church that I was attending at the time, so it really turned out. But this was the thing about it that got me, was with the Victim Offender Reconciliation Program. See, when I was committing the crime, I was just thinking of me and the merchandise that I was stealing so I could sell and I can get money for my drug habit. When I talked to the people that I had perpetrated the crime against, and we sat down and we had a mediation, we talked about it. The wife of the man who owned the business, she was in the business at the time. And I came in and I grabbed a bunch of coats and I just walked out. And she told me about how she was terrified because I was high at the time. And, I was a pretty big guy. She saw me and she didn't know what else I was going to do. With me being focused on getting high, I knew that all I wanted to do was take the coats and walk out. And me thinking that it's a victimless crime because my rationale was they have insurance. They can get the insurance to pay for it. I'm going to take the coats. But I didn't think about this lady being in the back, terrified, not knowing what I was going to do. If I had a gun, if I wanted to rob a place or whatever I might have, she thought was going on. So when she explained that to me, it let me understand that there's no such thing as a victimless crime. And it showed me the impact of how my actions, my selfish actions impacted somebody else who was living their life according to how they felt like they were supposed to, or how the law required for them to do. So after that, during that time of my life, I was in the process of changing, and I ended up going to school, and I got a degree in social work, and I did my practicum here at the Center for Community Justice. And that transcended into being involved with recovery coaching, which is a position that's booming, and it affects everybody in the community, because we have to understand that in one way or another, the drug infestations have affected everybody in our community, maybe directly or indirectly. So these programs are allowing people to come back to where they live, because when people are taken out of the community and sent into incarceration or whatever payment they have to make for the crime that they've done, they come back to our community. So with us being in place and having an involvement in that, it gives them an opportunity to be reconciled back to their community, to pay for what they've done and become a part of their community again. And I'm living proof. Also, the restorative justice in school, I had an opportunity to do that, where we work with young guys in school, and instead of kicking them out of school for behavior, we had a time for them to all come together and they talk about how they're feeling their problems, and they learn about respect, they learn about problem solving skills, and just the fact of, I was working with another African American male, and just the fact that we were inside of the schools and we weren't disciplinary officers, or we weren't truant officers or officers of the court, but we were a part of an organization that was in the community that was designed and whose goal is to build up the community, bring it together, and provide these resources so that we can build people in the future to continue this. The Center for Community Justice has been paramount in my turnaround. I continually come by and I continually work with Irwin, and I work with Don French, who's the coordinator of the reentry program. And it's just an asset, and it's a place for people to come to get resources, and even sometimes just to laugh, just to get a laugh, to get some encouragement, to keep you going. So I definitely feel like that the Center for Community Justice is needed, and I know that it has impacted my life to the point that I'm no longer an agent of chaos, I'm an agent of change.